Welcome to this podcast. My name is Khurram, and I work with teams, leadership, and organizational change transformations. And today, the guest we have with us is Usman Younas. This podcast will be very much focusing on the product domain. And let's get into it. Usman, so who are you?
Hey, Karam, thanks for having me here. My name is Usman Younas. I'm a product manager at a software services and products company here in Lahore, Pakistan. It's called Arbisoft. I've been a product manager for a few years now. Before that, I've been working as a project manager, as an Agile project manager. Um, so yeah, that's a very brief introduction that I think.
Yeah, sounds good. We will definitely deep dive into it. So this podcast is very informal. We don't have any like strict agenda. We just go through just like a coaching conversation. You relate yourself to a product domain. So how did you end up here?
Hmm. So when I joined this company, Arbisoft, they were building a product back then. And, the way I ended up in this company is also quite funny. I did not apply here. I just gave some feedback on that product, and, the CEO, he just recognized that I may have some kind of product management skills. So he
Mm-hmm.
gave me a chance. I'm really glad he did. I have grown a lot in the product domain since then. I have learned a lot working here. So yeah, it started off as a project manager, like I said, but then eventually formalized my understanding of product management, and then eventually ended up working on a few products
Mm-hmm.
in-house and also a few products of some clients as well. So that's where I am right now. It's been an interesting journey, moving, transitioning from project management into product management. Um, but yeah, now the knowledge and the education of product management is rather more mainstream compared to when I started off.
All right. So quite an interesting journey. So you mentioned you have worked with the project first, and then you start working with the product. So tell us about the differences or the things that you discovered new in the product areas.
If I had $1 for every time someone asked me the difference between project management and product management,
And
that's
I'm
the
not asking about the difference. That is not the there. But what has been your experiences moving from the project to the product one?
so it's it varies from company to company, and in Pakistan, the two roles are often, sadly, very confused with each other. Now companies are starting to develop an understanding of what's the difference between the two roles.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think as a project manager, I've been working with clients and even on internal products. When I worked on internal, like Arbisoft's own products, I focused more on timelines and the processes and obviously everything related to agile and stuff. But moving to product management has given me the awareness of what is it that we're building and focusing more on the users and the
Mm-hmm.
product and the actual thing that is being built instead of how it is being built, focusing more on the development process.
Mm-hmm.
I moved more into the product domain where I was defining what exactly is being built, creating roadmaps of the products that we're working on, working with users, conducting user interviews. So there's been a product where I had to even respond to user emails, feature requests, bug reports.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how it's been.
So I mean, looks like you are really enjoying the product area. If I ask you, what is uh, what is challenging in this area?
Um,
Do you have notes some up on
hmm,
the wall, or you're like thinking,
yeah.
okay?
Uh, like I said, this would vary from company to company as well. What my experience has been that is that you sometimes have to wear so many hats, not because I'm bald, but I had to wear so many hats working as a product manager. Because in Pakistani companies, mostly product managers are, they mostly hire product managers for their entire product. And so the product manager is overseeing the entire product, not just a specific area of the product. That's how, the latter, what I described, product managers looking at a
Mm-hmm.
specific, part of the product. That's how larger products are built. So right now at Arbisoft, I'm working with an international clients at X.org. So that there I'm working as a product manager as well, but I'm looking at a very specific area because edX is a very large product. So I'm looking at a very small part, not a very small part, but a very significant part of edX where, I'm, working with my expertise on enhancing that particular area of the product. But
Okay.
in generally in Pakistan, mostly product managers have to deal with a large chunk of the product or the entire product itself and wear so many hats. And that is the area that becomes challenging. And, you know, 10-12 घंटे का आपका work day बन जाता है, which is pretty common for product managers in general, I would say, not just in Pakistan. It gets stressful. Like people mostly say product management is such a cool job. You get to define the product, you get to define the way it works, and you're a
Mm-hmm.
boss. You're not a boss in product management. You're even you're just going to every single person. You're trying to influence everyone with data. You're trying to find out user insights. It's very stressful, I would say, but it's rewarding as well. When you get to see your product succeed, it makes it all worth it.
Yeah, sounds exciting. I mean, you mentioned about something. I mean, you are in Pakistan working with the companies. So, what are unique challenges for product people with the product? I'm just trying to work on the not go with the product owners, product managers, but taking the product as an area. So, what are unique challenges you might have observed that, oh, we have a global market here, and then we have you being in Pakistan. So, what are your unique challenges there?
Can you elaborate on the unique part? Like, what do you mean by
I mean,
unique?
what I'm trying to say is that you mentioned you have worked with the global other companies as well, and then you are. If I rephrase my question, have you created any specific products which are local to Pakistan market, and what would be
Hmm.
those challenges? Not only challenges, but what did you learn from that? And I'm just throwing a lot of questions to you, but let's focus on the challenges first.
Yes. So now I understand the question, and that's a very important part to understand. Demographics play a huge role
Mm-hmm.
in product management. So understanding your user base, that's one of the key parts of what we call product discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know what user base you're building for, you might end up building the wrong product or for the wrong people. So that's a very important part of product discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And so building a product for Pakistani audience versus building a product for international audience, that's a entirely different ballgame. And even within Pakistan or even within international audience, you have to dig deep into their interests. You have to create some user personas. Okay, this is how my users think.
Mm-hmm.
So I can give you an example of a product that I did not like entirely manage this product, but it was a product that
Mm-hmm.
Arbisoft worked on for a while. It was a logistics solution. It was a delivery solution, much like Food Panda and others, like Food Panda, Cheetah. It was called Fatafat. Now it is not working as much as it was once.
Okay.
But one of the problems that we that we discovered working on this was people are, you know, there's very different dynamics when it comes to payments and stuff. Like people here are very much used to cash on delivery.
Mm-hmm.
They introduced a digital payment system, but people were still relying more on cash, as opposed to if you were building a logistics product for, some other countries,
Mm-hmm.
for example, US. People would mostly be paying via credit cards or via digital payments. They don't use cash. While
Yes.
in Pakistan, the cash on delivery system is the primary mode of payment. People actually trust that more as opposed to digital payments. There's still very little adoption of digital
Cash
payment
is king
systems.
there then.
Yeah, so that's one exactly. Cash is king here in Pakistan. So that's one very simple example of how the location changes the way your product should operate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, there's many other examples you can identify in different products, and you might even know how different products had to come up with localized, solutions when they come to Pakistan.
Okay.
So that's the
Anything that
reason.
anything that you can mention specifically that you have worked with?
I may not have worked with any products that have come to Pakistan, but um, so come to think of it, Food Panda, if you can think of that example, Food
Yes.
Panda is not just a Pakistani brand; it's a
It's
global
global.
phenomenon.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
part
Yeah.
of the Delivery Hero organization, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, internationally, they may have, like, if we take the same payment problem, right? Uh, they may have digital payments abroad, but here they had to introduce, cash on delivery as well. Yeah.
So what
So,
I'm
but
what I'm
but but
go ahead. Go
they
ahead.
are they they are also, Food Panda is a very good example because they are also contributing to this success of digital payments in Pakistan, because
Okay.
people are starting to understand, okay, this is how we can pay digitally as well. We don't have to pay the rider. So that's actually a good thing as well.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing so far, Usman, like, I mean, being in the product domain, if you are if you're a product owner, manager, or working with the company, understanding users is the primary thing. If no one buys your product, then you might go bankrupt. So I'm just want to shift a slight change here, to capitalize on the experience that you might have.
Hmm.
You have is mm, what are the different techniques or the tools that you have been using in your product roles?
Hmm. So techniques and tools. Are you asking with regards to,
So, for
different
example,
products?
what I'm just trying to do here is there might be viewers who are looking into become a product owner or product manager, or there might be people who are looking for different techniques. Let's imagine we have to start a new product. Did
Hmm.
you use any story mapping, product vision, product goal? Those kind of terminologies, or like the models or the processes, canvases. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
I do understand the question. So, these obviously some of the things that you have mentioned, these are what we call frameworks,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm.
And these frameworks, I like to think of these frameworks as training wheels. So they get you started. So for someone who's looking into, breaking into product management, or as a new product manager, as an associate product manager, these
Mhm.
things, these tools, these techniques are good to know
Mhm.
and essential to know. You should know about prioritization frameworks. For example, there are a bunch of prioritization frameworks. Is Moscow, Kano model.
Yeah.
There are different kind of product prioritization frameworks that you can use. But in real life, how many times do I end up using them? Um, Honestly, not that much. But
Okay.
they get you started. They get you started on the journey. They get you to understand how prioritization works, how feature prioritization is important. So I'm just taking this as one example.
Yeah.
There are
Okay.
so many frameworks and so many techniques, like you mentioned, user personas, user journey mapping.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many things that you can do. There are so many frameworks that you can follow.
Mhm.
But as long as you're getting the job done nicely, as long as you know what the framework is supposed to help you achieve, as long as you can do that,
Mhm.
you might not even need the framework, but that requires a certain level of expertise and a certain level of skill. I would not recommend any beginner product managers or any associate product managers, people just breaking into product, to do this without frameworks.
Mhm.
I recommend using frameworks, but once you are good enough, once you are skilled enough, then you may have to let go of them. So think of this, like I said, think of them as training wheels. You only
Mhm.
need one for a certain period of time. After that, you are skilled enough to do these things by yourself. I still, sometimes I use these prioritization frameworks. So one of the frameworks is called RICE, Reach, Impact, Confidence, Effort. So
Mm-hmm.
you calculate an entire RICE score. So about a month or two ago, I had to use the RICE model, on one of the products that I'm working on at X.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to use that model and prioritize certain features that we have been ideating, and eventually, what it turned out, and I was surprised as well, alongside the rest of my team, what we were thinking might have been an important feature to prioritize ended up being the least important feature, and something else came up on top, and then we
Mm.
ended up prioritizing that. So this is how these frameworks sometimes help even experienced product managers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just one example of how I've been leveraging these frameworks. It's important for new beginner product managers to know frameworks, the entire product development lifecycle, which roughly speaking has 5 steps. There are multiple variations of this, but the one I like to use and mention is that it starts with product discovery, then
Mm-hmm.
you go to product design, then you go to product development, then you go to product launch, and then there's product growth.
Mm.
So in all of these phases, there are multiple steps.
Mm.
And for all of those multiple steps, there are frameworks that you can follow. So, for example, in product development, you can use Agile frameworks, Scrum, Kanban, right?
Mm-hmm.
In You can also use prioritization frameworks there, because in development you have to come up with features, and you have to prioritize them. So prioritization frameworks come into play there as well. In product design, you may have to use certain frameworks like user journey mapping,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes you have to make use of design sprints. So it depends from situation to situation what model or what framework you have to use, and over experience, after getting certain experience, you understand what framework should be used here, or how should I approach this problem. It's a matter of gaining experience, and I think the more you learn, the more you know about these frameworks, the more you use them, the more you know about these tools, the better you get at them. And over time, you're experienced enough to make some judgments without even using these
Yeah, absolutely. I
frameworks.
think when you have tried a couple of any other tools and techniques, you get to know more experience. You use this term design sprints.
Mhm.
How valuable you have found these design sprints? At one time they were like quite popular. I have seen teams using it, like sitting together, deciding on things. But what has been your experience with the design sprints? Have you used them in your or used them before, or you're looking forward to do so?
It's an interesting technique.
Hmm.
I've been to a grand total of 3 design sprints so far in my
Okay.
experience. But it has been a good experience every single time. Some teams still do it. It's a slightly time-consuming process, so certain teams tend to avoid that, but it's a really good process for ideating, for quickly validating certain ideas and coming up with, an idea that wins. So, and there have been books written on this.
Yeah.
There's actually a book called Sprint by um,
Yeah.
don't mind if I just check the name of the author just now. So it's called, yeah, Jake Knapp. And so this was done in collaboration with Google Ventures. This was actually an initiative started by Google Ventures, and then these people got separated from Google, and then you
Hmm.
know worked on this. So this is a if you ask me about my experience of design sprints, it was a good experience.
Hmm.
Uh, you have to dedicate some time for it. You have to know how to facilitate the process. You have to be a good facilitator for this.
Okay.
You, as a product manager, could be a facilitator for this, or someone who is skilled enough in this process can do that.
Yeah.
So it's a 5-day process, and I don't think we need to go over the exact specifics of this, but
Yeah.
that's
But I'm
one
looking
thing.
at its reviews. Looks like a 4.7 rating is quite good. So I have done that in a different form. We called it hackathon. Like
Hmm.
we have this for for a week, and then teams were like we as a coach we provided them the framework. They are ideating, they are executing, and at the end they were presenting it. I really liked it because that gave a feeling of innovation in the teams and gave a feeling of creativity. During that time, of course, we have to have the lights on work happening for the company, but most of the time the teams were really dedicated in doing so. I have seen amazing features coming out of it. Very nice. Now, you mentioned about this skill perspective. You mentioned about facilitation. So I mean, if you reflect back and you look back on your experience, has been what has been top three skills that really help you to emerge as a really good product um, manager or product owner?
Hmm.
I
Uh,
give you some time to think. Yeah, you take your time.
yeah, it's a this podcast is a good interview preparation for product managers as well. So there's a really good book called Cracking the PM Interview if someone is into preparing for product management interviews. But to answer your question, Khurram, I think so. It depends. Once again, all of my answers are vague like that, but it depends from person to person. I, as an introvert, have been thrown into this world of project management and product management, and I had to learn how to communicate with people effectively.
Okay, so you say the
Uh,
first skill is communication.
Communication is, I would say, in my opinion, one of the most important skills to have. And I don't mean communication as in speaking
Mm,
English or speaking Urdu, like whatever जो भी language आप बोलते हैं, जो भी ज़बान है आपकी, it could be English, it could be Urdu, it could be Italian, whatever, right?
Punjabi as well. Yeah.
Language is not the problem. It's communication, how you talk to different people and influence them, how you talk to stakeholders. You have to communicate with a lot of people. You have to communicate with stakeholders, with users, with your team, and how you communicate with all those people is different, right? So
Mm,
uh, by communicate, I mean you can't use absolute core product lingo with your users. They are end
mm,
users. They don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You
mm,
can't just tell them, okay, this feature works this way because we implemented it like this. Like, this is how it works behind the scenes. They're not interested in that.
mm,
At the same time, you have to discuss those nitty-gritties of each feature with your team. So,
mm,
and then with the stakeholders, you have to communicate in a more business-oriented language.
mm,
You have to communicate with them in terms of revenues and growth and what this product means for the company and the business.
mm,
So that's what I mean by communication, knowing how to talk to different people and talk and speak in their language
mm. So I
in a
mean,
way.
I just want to add up. Like I think you already mentioned, but
Mhm.
just want to add from my experience as well. Communication is one thing. I really like that you mentioned about the teams and the business side, but the product owners or the managers who really excel at, they were able to adapt their language as well. They are talking with the
Hmm.
technical people. They understand, not even completely understanding the technology. They were focused on why are we building it and what needs to be done. And then on the business side, they were like presenting how it will bring value to the product and the company. So I think this
Right.
is important. Let's move on to the second one. What do you think the second important skill as a product manager or in the product area?
Hmm. I think the second might not be just one skill. It's obviously a,
Combination of skills.
yeah, so that's obviously knowing about product management, being good at that. And
Okay.
you have to be a good learner, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because the way the product management space is evolving, it's not a fixed set of things that you have to do, right? Product management has evolved ever since the word product management came into existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every every couple of months and now every couple of days because of the entire AI revolution,
Oh, yes.
new things are being added into product management. So you have to be a good learner if you are not learning and evolving as a product manager,
Mm-hmm.
you might lag behind and you will
Mm,
be replaced by product managers who are good learners. So
mm,
in this day and age, eh, I don't think it even needs to be said right now, but I'm afraid it needs to be said, to be honest, that continuous learning is very important. It's
mm.
crucial to keep
Yeah.
yourself updated, to keep learning, to stay up to date with what's going on in the world outside of your company, outside of where you work, because you end up working at a company in a silo, applying the same old techniques that you have been doing, applying using the same old frameworks that you have been using, that you learned from the internet. In product management and pretty much in every other discipline, there's theoretical information,
Mm,
there's what's written in the books, what's mentioned in the courses, and then what's done in the industry.
mm,
So you have to connect with industry professionals, and that's why I'm emphasizing learning as a skill as well, because learning is not just from books and podcasts and
mm,
uh, online courses. It's from your network as well. It's how you reach out to people in other companies and
mm,
other organizations and other product companies and learn from their experiences how they are practically applying these techniques, or even coming up with new techniques which are not there in the books, because everything that has ended up in the product management books and courses
mm.
emerged somewhere. It started somewhere in a product company by some product manager. It got successful. They got good results using a
Yes.
technique, and then that technique made its way into the books. So
Mm.
while you're waiting for things to come up in blogs and stuff, so people are applying new techniques every single
Yeah,
day, so
but
you
I
have to
just,
connect with people and
but
learn.
don't you think like I totally buy this idea that you will be we all need to continuous focus on the continuous learning, let it be in any role. But don't you
Mhm.
think that's very challenging? I mean, how can you keep up with each and everything all the time?
See, that's why I said product management is not easy. It's not just do this degree and then you're set for life.
Mm.
That's not true for, I don't think that's true for any field of work these days.
Yes.
But with product management in particular, it's a continuous journey. You have to take time out for your self-learning and self-growth. You can't just be focusing on your work. You have to focus on your career as well. You
Yeah.
have to focus on growing yourself and keeping yourself up to date.
All right. So the first one we had communication. Second one we had learning. What is the
Mhm.
third one that you think this is a really is important skill?
Okay, so that also sounds like an extension of communication as well, but I'll put leadership as the third
Hmm.
option.
Okay.
And the reason for that is most of us are not, uh, you know, some people say use the word born leaders, right?
Yeah.
So most of the people are not born leaders. I was not one of those. Like I said, I've been an introverted person all my life, and I was just thrown into this career. Not thrown into this career, but I
You have
chose
to
this career.
you have to become an extrovert to tell that you are introvert.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it comes to leadership, leadership in product management is very different. Like I said, you're not the boss. Some people also have this common misconception that you're the mini CEO. You're not a mini CEO
Mm,
when you're a product manager. But you have to lead. You have to lead the team. Um, you have to communicate with certain stakeholders in a certain way, and that is where your leadership and management skills shine.
mm,
So, in terms of the third skill, like I said, communication is a very umbrella term. So, this might feel like an extension of that, but I think leadership and management, these two things side by side, product management, the management part of the product management is important. So,
mm.
and that's not something you can, once again, that's not something that you can learn only from courses or from podcasts. That is something that you have to apply. This is
I
something that you
totally
learn with.
agree. It's the that leadership is very much action and behavior oriented. If you want to see the leadership, it is demonstrated from the actions and the behaviors. Even if you
Hmm.
might have the role or the title that you are this leader, but if your actions and behaviors are not connecting to that, then it's no use. But now, from your side, you mentioned communication, you mentioned learning, and the third one you mentioned leadership.
Yes.
I would like to add two more, just to add more meat to the bone, is decision making.
Hmm.
I mean, decision making is such an important skill to have, is that you need to make a decision what you will be adding to this release, to this feature, and what you will not be adding. And one of the, when I'm teaching these product owner courses and these workshops, one of the key things that I also mentioned to my participants, like you need to learn the skill of saying no.
Hmm.
You are a product manager or you are a product owner, and everyone comes to you, hey, we want to have this, we want to have this feature, we want to have a cash on delivery, want to have a PayPal, but you cannot have each and everything at the same time. So you have to put things in an order, you have to prioritize it. So then this leads to saying no or not yet. And I have seen like the people, product owner people, who are really good at doing it, deciding, hey, we cannot do this, but we need to do this because this will add like this. And of course, that very much connects to your point, leadership. You need to demonstrate that, hey, I mean, trust me. And the teams where I have felt like, hey, nothing is moving. I remember working with the team. Literally, Usman, we spent almost 2 weeks. The teams were not able to do something. They were only doing bug fixes or the maintenance. So the product people, they were unable to decide what is the next feature they want to build.
Hmm.
And there was a level of frustration that was building up. Hey, I mean, what are we doing? That was a really good team that I worked with many, many years ago. So decision making, I think it's in my world is very important to have. Now, last week we had this a workshop, and we had a person from the product side who were like allocating budget, and he said that I still remember that it's not easy to make these kind of decisions when you're talking about 10, $15 million. Because if you go in a wrong direction, then you're of course losing money. Yeah, you're losing money, your own money, and you're losing the potential revenue you might have gained from other direction. But I agree,
Yes.
we can only learn by doing. We just cannot sit and talk about it. We need to take actions.
You're
Good. So you, Sman, share the three important skills. And if you are listening to this podcast, if you're from the product domain, please do share what are the top three skills for the product person that you want that one should be having. Now, I have two
one that
more
you mentioned.
questions. Yes, go ahead.
Yes. No, I was just going to add to that from my practical experience that this is a super important thing that you have mentioned. And that comes under the umbrella of prioritization as well. That's
Yes.
why learning about product management is so important because I'm not afraid to admit that while I have worked on some successful products, I have also worked on products that were not successful. And
Yes.
one of the reasons I can tell you with certainty, with my own experience of why certain products have not been successful, is because we ended up building feature over feature over feature, and we spent a lot of time on building and less time on validating those features. And when we went to the market after spending so much time on building features, took this quote unquote feature factory, that's an actual word, feature phrase, yeah. So when we took that to market, people could not understand, the users could not understand what this product is for. It does 100 things, but what am I supposed to do with it? So that
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
some of the things do happen. So, just there's this philosophy of failing fast.
Yes.
So just build your minimum viable product, take it to the market, validate, fail fast. Feel free to discard features if they don't work out. One day you just have to wake up, scrap everything, start from scratch.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I
it's
agree.
that.
And just to add to that, there's a very nice book, The Lean Startup by Eric Ries.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
like, hey, you need to start minimum and see if the product that you're working, will it be, I mean, if the people will like it or not.
Hmm.
Now I have a couple of more questions. I know we are on the time on the clock as well. So I see there is a very nice book on your Simon Sinek, Start with
Oh,
Why.
yes.
That
Start
might
with one.
be
What's good?
also useful for the people in the product or any role. Is like, why are you building this product? Who are the
Exactly.
customers, who are the stakeholders, what are the boundaries? So, I mean, if you listeners, if you haven't read that book, I think highly recommended to read that book. Now, continuing
Yes.
with this one, you have also been working, we can say, agility aspect as well. So, how you say agile is connects with product management? How has it? I mean, what are your takes on it?
Right. That's a very important question. And while there's a common misconception that these are separate things, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a, I just feel bad about this, how there's a negative impression or negative connotation about agile
Mm-hmm.
in the market right now, or
Agile is
in
dead.
right now, that it slows people down. While at the core, agile is actually meant to be agile. It's actually meant to make you deliver software faster.
Yes,
That's one of the principles of agile, right?
yes.
Working software.
Yeah,
Get working software out there as quickly as possible,
yeah, I agree.
right?
I agree. Yeah. And I mean, just to, uh, I feel like the term that you use, like every time someone says agile is dead and I get a coin, I think I will be a millionaire by the next weekend. And the teams, because I'm regularly doing these courses, connecting with the people, when I listen to them and I ask them, how are you doing this product management and how are you doing agile stuff? And when I listen to them, hey, this is not what it is. It's
Hmm.
not even close to the values and the principles of the manifesto. So feel like it feels a bit painful for me because I have been working in this industry for a while. And when people say agile is dead, I feel like that is a very stupid statement, in my opinion. It's I think it's I feel like it's much more relevant now than before. What do you
Yes,
say?
yes. I totally agree with that. It's unfortunate that this sort of perception has made its way into the mainstream media and social media and every other place, that Agile slows things down. And it's probably because of certain implementations of Agile that have not been effective. But
Mhm,
if you are staying true to the principles, if you're
mhm,
staying true to the core principles of Agile and applying these frameworks and following the practices in
mhm,
order to help you build software, do your work more effectively, then these both things go hand in hand. So Agile tells you, how to build certain things, and then, but as a product manager, you are telling the team what you are going to build. So these two things go side by side, right? And come to think of it, there's a very important role in the Scrum framework. That's product owner.
yes.
So it's pretty close to a product manager role as well. And that's where I may have an anecdote for you as well, because I have worked in a team where I was the product owner as
Mhm.
well as a scrum master, unfortunately. I'll tell you why I say unfortunately, because I was the product owner, I was the scrum master, and I was labeled as the product manager. And as you can imagine, I was having 12-hour work days. So
I hope you
so
are
that
getting paid for that. Those numbers matter.
that that paid off nicely. Not, I wouldn't say financially, but that paid off nicely. That product got acquired, alhamdulillah, and
Very nice.
that's one of the successes of our company. But I would not recommend that. You might be convinced, as a person who knows processes very well. If you're a Scrum Master right now, if you're a project manager right now, you might be convinced to transition into product management. If you are going to do product management, take on the product ownership role, do the product management related work, but stop working as a scrum master, stop working as a project manager as well, because that will just cause you so much pain. That would be so much work to handle.
Yeah, I just quickly Google the principles and I mean the question like how product management is relevant to agile. I think
Mhm.
as you mentioned earlier, you cannot just build a feature factory and deliver it after like 12 or like 2 years. That is gone unless and until you're very working in a niche market that you have those clients with you. But the very first one is like our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. I know this
They,
manifesto was written like 25 years ago almost, but I see
yes.
that is still relevant.
Mm,
Um, Now, when we're talking about the skills, that's some one more thing that comes to my mind is relationship building for the product managers.
mhm.
How is your relationship with the how the team? How is your relationship with the business people? Because that is a kind of a leadership we can say, or a trust level kind of a communication that, hey, we will not build each and everything right now, but let's
Yes.
take incremental and iterative software. So if I look at these 12 principles, I feel like in the for the product people, everything is very relevant. And this
Yes.
principle number 10, simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is
Awesome.
essential. So
Yes.
you say, I mean, you don't need to build each and everything, but you need to maximize the amount of work not done. There's also a very nice rule which is called 80-20 Pareto. Uh,
Yes.
yeah.
Mm,
So you building 20% of the whatever feature, and then you want to have more of the 80% impact. So I mean,
mm.
at least in our brief conversation about this topic, we can say that it is very much relevant
Right.
still now. But building
Exactly.
upon this one, uh, agile, but the next very hype topic is AI. So how do you see
Yes.
AI and product management? I mean, should we let every product manager go and put the robots on the work, or is that time near, or
So as of today, AI is not replacing, at least right now, product managers. It is
okay?
not replacing product managers. And for any particular job, you can say that, but let's talk about product management right now. I think the product managers that are going to be replaced, like every other job role,
Mhm,
you might have heard this a lot of times. I'm just going to say the same thing again.
mhm.
The only people who are going to be replaced in any job role, and the only product managers who might be or will be replaced, are the ones who are not leveraging AI into their workflow.
Yes.
So the product managers who are using AI and making their work more efficient by using AI tools are going to replace those who are not. These
Mm,
product managers are going to be more in demand as compared to those who are not. Now, the viewers might be thinking, okay, what does this mean?
mhm.
How do I use AI? Do I just go to ChatGPT and
I have the same question. So how should we use AI then?
so ChatGPT is not just the only, that's the one that introduced us to the world of
Mhm,
AI, but there's so much going on in the world of AI right now. So before we dive into that, we need to revisit what product managers do on a regular basis.
yes, I think that's a good
Like I
thing.
said, the product development life cycle, the 5 stages: discovery, design, development, launch, growth.
Mhm,
As far as I have experience as a product manager, the first 3 phases, I have personally leveraged AI a lot in the first 3 phases. And obviously, these 3 phases are not just applicable to a product as a
mhm,
whole, these are applicable to each feature as well.
mhm.
You have to come up with a feature, do the discovery. If you're adding a new feature in any app, for example, you are a product manager for uh, Bikea. It's a local ride-sharing app in
Yes,
Pakistan, right?
yes, yeah.
So if you're a product manager for Bikea and you want to add a new feature, you're going to do the discovery for that feature. You're going
Yes.
to find out if someone needs that feature. If
Mm,
first of all, you're not starting with a feature, you're starting with a problem, right? You're
yes.
going to do the research on whether that problem needs to be solved or not. Now, the traditional way product managers would do research is they would go out and talk to users, they would do the research on the web, and there are different avenues for doing research.
Yes.
Now with AI, you can accelerate that research. You can just
Mm,
get that done in a couple of hours as opposed to a couple of days or weeks, right?
yes, I agree.
Uh, if you if you want to use any AI tools for that, obviously ChatGPT is one of them. ChatGPT, if you're using ChatGPT for research, make sure you're using the right model for it. That
Mm-hmm.
matters a lot. I think O3 right now is the model that's good for research. There's also a deep research function in ChatGPT right now
Mm-hmm.
that gives good results, but you have to validate your sources as well. You
Mm.
don't always take what AI says without a grain of salt.
Of
You have
course.
to do your research.
Yes.
So, so I'm only diving into the research part right now. There's a lot of other things. One other thing that I would really like to mention right now
Mm-hmm.
is is a part of the product design phase, which is prototyping. So now we have something called vibe coding. That's a very I would say that's a trigger word for certain people. Developers sometimes
I'm
uh,
hearing this first time. What is vibe coding? Sorry to distract you from the main. What is vibe coding?
Okay, so vibe coding, it's a word, it's a term coined by Andrej Karpati, who was I think he was the head of AI. I forgot his exact title. He was working at OpenAI.
Okay.
So he coined this term, and so AI, these AI models are now capable of generating code as well,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Microsoft is
So now
using.
we have some of these tools which can not only write code but also build stuff for you. So some of these tools, the some of the initial ones that came to the market were GitHub Copilot,
Mm-hmm.
Cursor, and
Yes.
now we have certain other tools like Replit, Lovable, Bolt,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I think Google has also come up with Google Firebase Studio.
Yes.
So what you do is you just talk to these AI agents. You just
Okay.
go open up a window, just like ChatGPT. Just go to Replit, for example.
Mm-hmm.
You tell it, I want to build, and for example, I want to let's consider an example of an online fundraising platform, right? So I can just go and say, I want to build a fundraising platform. It should have these features. And you mentioned the features, you even mentioned what kind of design do you want it to have.
Oh,
And you
nice.
just hit enter, give it a few minutes, and it will come up with, a basic layout, a basic version of that app for you. I cannot say for certain that it is something that's production ready. That's something that you can release to the world because there have been some instances where so vibe coding is something that's very in the initial phases right now,
Mm.
but it is getting better and better. There have been some instances where the security of certain websites, vibe coded sites were breached, but it's a good start. It's a good start for AI. People are dismissing this. Developers are against this that, AI cannot code, AI cannot write code as good as developers can. I agree with that.
Mm.
But developers also need to empower themselves with these tools, with these AI tools, and product managers. So coming back to product
Mm-hmm.
management,
Mm-hmm.
if you're a product manager, in the past, when you had validated a particular problem and you had um, finalized, okay, this is a particular problem that we need to solve. Now let's design a feature to solve this problem. What did you do?
Mm.
You went to your designer, you made some sketches,
Mm.
the designer converted them into Figma designs, and then,
Yes. Yeah.
connected those Figma mockups, those wireframes
Mm-hmm.
with each other, made a prototype,
Mm-hmm.
and this activity used to take like a few days or maybe weeks. Right now, with vibe coding and
It's
with
crazy.
AI prototyping tools, you can just do that in a couple of hours.
So we had
So,
Henrik Nyberg in our regional Scrum gathering in Stockholm we had last year, where he
mhm,
he used these tools like, hey, I want to have this one, give a command, and there was a kind of prototype up and ready literally within minutes. So I
nice.
agree. I think if we don't need to go against AI, but perhaps we can use it as a someone to consult to,
Hmm,
someone that we can present our idea. I think that
absolutely.
yeah. I don't know what will be happening in coming 2 to 3 years.
So, just summarizing that question that you had initially. So, coming back to that and giving closure to that particular topic, leveraging AI and using these tools, I only mentioned two use cases right now. One is research, one
Mhm.
is prototyping. You can also leverage AI in the product development phase, maybe in the launch stages and growth stages as well. So, um, leveraging these tools makes you a more effective product
Mm.
manager. And effective product managers is what the world really needs right now,
Mm.
right? If you're a product manager who is still taking, by the way, 2 weeks to validate a feature, 2 weeks to prototype a feature, and then, take it to the users and test it with them, as opposed to a product manager who can get all that done in 1 week. Who do you think is a more effective product manager?
Yeah,
And by
but
the way, both are getting the same thing done. They are validating a particular feature.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think, but one more thing is like I work in a life science company right now. It also depends on the business area, on the domain. I mean, there are like telecom, we have finance, we have privacy, we have biopharma, life science. So definitely AI can be used as an average to get more or have a consulting hand. But I agree. I think it can be used to certain extents to benefit you. And we
Mm,
cannot take everything whatever AI says that. So we have to still use our own brain. Good.
right.
We have
If
been
I
having, yeah, go ahead.
if I just want to add one last thing
Yeah.
to your question earlier, that what skills product managers need to have, I would say learning to use AI effectively, because AI is not a magic pill. You can't just go and write anything and get your work done. You need to write specific prompts. You need to understand how to tell AI to get the thing done for you. And that's
Mm.
what we call prompt engineering. So learn prompt engineering.
Asking better
There's
questions.
Yes, asking better questions and learning to prompt, because AI at the end of the day, it's not a human, it's a machine,
Mhm.
it's a computer at the end of the day. It
Yeah.
has learned to talk to you, but it's still under the hood, it's still code, it's still doing specific calculations. So
Mm.
if you are better able to use this machine, if you know how to give it the right input, it will give you the right output. So
I
learning how to use AI in a better way by effectively using prompt engineering, that is very important. And there are lots of resources on how to write good prompts, whether it is for a text-based AI like ChatGPT or an AI tool that generates code. Prompt engineering is super invaluable, and you should learn that. And we can leave some links to certain resources in the
Yes.
description of this
Please
podcast.
share that, and when I publish this podcast, it will be there. But
Yes,
just
there's a
reflecting
very
on
60-page book by Google on prompt engineering. So
yeah,
yes,
so please share that link with me, Usman, and I will be happy to tag it there. Now, I mean, what I was when you were saying these things like it's a machine, it's a code, we need to ask prompt engineering. I was reflecting that as a professional coach, like during my education, one of the key thing was asking better questions. Because when you are asking better question to a human being, it's like as a coachee to the coachee, that person will respond you accordingly. You should not ask close-ended questions, should be more open-ended questions, reflection, uh, creating options, creating more awareness. So I totally agree. It's like asking better questions, not only to human beings, but also to the machines.
yes.
Nice. So I think we've been talking for a while now, and we have just started deep diving into these discussions. Hopefully, we will come more. And I know Usman is taking advanced product owner course next weekend. We might
Yes.
talk with you again sometime in the coming weeks or the coming months. But it was lovely having you with me together with us for this podcast. Anything that you would like to share, Usman, before we close this podcast?
Yeah, just keep learning. I think,
Yeah.
like I emphasized before, just be on a continuous learning journey. However, you can learn through courses, through podcasts, through books, blogs, and particular courses like certified Scrum product owner. I learned a lot about product management. I was not a product owner when I did the initial certified Scrum product owner course back in 2020. That's when I was transitioning to product management.
Ah,
And
okay.
I was surprised it was less about Scrum and more about product management. So,
Mm,
courses like these are super invaluable in your learning journey. Certifications like these are super invaluable,
yes,
and these are widely renowned certifications.
yes,
So I think at least everyone, because there's no to my knowledge, there's no centralized, masters in product management degree right now. There
yes.
may be some, but these specific certifications,
Mm,
which are renowned by the company, by the world, sorry,
mhm.
and many companies around the world, these are really good things to have in your profile,
Yeah,
just to
absolutely.
show more credibility of your knowledge that you have gained. So keep learning from all of these courses, books, podcasts, and every other place. And if you have learned enough, if you have a sufficient and good understanding of of the field, start teaching, give
Mm,
back to the community, and help other people learn, help other people get on this journey.
yeah,
Alhamdulillah, I have gotten the chance to mentor some people so
mm,
far, and
very nice.
help them, get to, break into product management, and get a better understanding of what product management is and be better product managers themselves. So give back to the community. It's think of this as a responsibility that you have once you reach a certain level.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Usman has a lot to share, and I'm already looking forward to have him again on the podcast. But we need to time box it because otherwise we might go
Yeah.
hours and hours on talking about it.
Good choice. Good
Yeah,
choice of word box.
time box. Yeah, good. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. And if you want to add any comments based on the discussion that we have had so far, and any tips for something that we should discuss in the next podcast, please do leave a comment. Uh, this is Khurram Bhatti. Thank you very much for listening and signing off. Thank you very much, Usman. Yeah,
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
thank you.